You know that feeling when, like, you take a personality quiz online and it somehow just nails exactly who you are?
Oh, yeah, it almost feels like magic, honestly.
Right, but there is actual mechanical science behind it. So, today on the deep dive, our mission is figuring out exactly how psychologists manage to take something as, well, invisible and chaotic as human personality and build a reliable system to measure it.
Well, it's an incredibly ambitious puzzle to try and solve. And to tackle it today, we are pulling from section 11.7 of chapter 11 from Psychology 2E. The core premise for trait theorists here is that we all have foundational traits, characteristic ways of behaving that basically make up our unique signature.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because since I am playing the curious student today and you are the lecturer, I really want to know where you even start building that system. Because, I mean, early on, psychologists literally just opened a dictionary, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. Gordon Allport basically scanned the English dictionary and found, get this, 4,500 words describing human traits.
Wait, 4,500?
Exactly. It was a massive, messy pile.
Mm-hmm.
But he tried sorting it into three buckets, which were cardinal, central, and secondary traits.
Which, I mean, looking at the textbook, it feels a bit like analyzing a movie script.
How do you mean?
Well, a cardinal trait is like your main character trope, like Ebenezer Scrooge being just entirely defined by his greed.
Right, yeah, the classic example.
But most real people aren't one-dimensional villains, you know? We operate on central traits instead, like being generally loyal or optimistic.
Absolutely.
And then those secondary traits are purely situational quirks. Like, for me, how I absolutely must sleep on the left side of the bed.
We all have those. But here's the thing. A dictionary list of 4,500 words is not exactly a manageable scientific tool.
Yeah, you can't really put a hard number on that.
Exactly. So Raymond Cattell came along and used statistical analysis to shrink that list. It's sort of like an audio engineer taking a really noisy recording and isolating just the bass, the treble, and the vocals.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, and through that, Cattell narrowed it down to 16 core factors of personality with his 16 PF assessment. And he measured things like warmth on a high to low continuum.
Wait, so rather than just saying you have a trait or you don't, it's like a volume slider.
Spot on. It gave a much higher resolution picture of a person.
Okay, but playing the student here, I have a pushback question. Isn't 16 factors still a bit overwhelming? Like, what about plain old biology? If our brains are wired differently, shouldn't our personalities just reflect that?
That is exactly the pivot that Hans and Sybil Eysenck made. They believed personality is fundamentally genetic. For instance, they argued extroverts naturally have a lower baseline of brain arousal, so they seek out social stimulation just to, wake their brains up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because of that biological focus, the Eysenck shrank those 16 sliders down to just two main spectrums, extroversion versus introversion, and neuroticism versus emotional stability.
Which kind of echoes those four ancient Greek temperaments, right?
Exactly. It maps right onto them. And they did later add a third spectrum, psychoticism versus superego control.
Okay, wait, I'm going to push back again, though. Because while 16 was too broad, the Eysencks' 2 or 3 factors seem way too narrow to capture a whole person.
It is, yeah, it is a bit blunt.
Right. It's like trying to EQ a massive symphony using only a master volume and a bass knob. You're missing all the nuance.
I completely agree. And that tension between too complex and too blunt is exactly why modern psychology settled in what you could call a Goldilocks zone, the 5-factor model.
The famous middle ground.
Yes, it hits that perfect measurable middle ground. You could remember it with the acronym OCEAN. That stands for openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism.
Ocean. That is a great mental hook.
It really is the most widely accepted standard today. Though I should mention some researchers prefer the hexaco model, which takes those 5 ocean traits and adds one more crucial letter, H for honesty, humility.
Oh, wow. Separating out sincerity and greed from just basic agreeableness. Okay, so here is a highly practical question for you. If I take an ocean assessment today, are you basically stuck with your exact score for life?
Not at all. Section 11.7 actually highlights that while these traits are relatively stable, they aren't frozen. As we age, our conscientiousness and agreeableness tend to increase.
Wait, really? We just naturally get nicer?
Yeah, we get better at managing relationships, likely because careers and parenting force us to adapt. And conversely, neuroticism and extroversion actually slightly decline over time. Oh, and here is a really surprising fact from the data regarding agreeableness.
Hit me.
Men with low agreeableness scores, meaning they are more stubborn or uncooperative, actually tend to earn more money than highly agreeable men.
You're kidding. So being a bit difficult actually pays off financially.
It seems there's a definite trade-off between social harmony and financial gain.
That is wild. Well, it's been quite a journey. From 4,500 chaotic words, through Cattell's 16 sliders, past the Eysencks biological dials, to finally land on the stable shores of the ocean traits.
The ultimate tool for self-awareness, really.
Definitely. So for you listening, take a second to reflect. Which of those ocean traits really dominates your life right now? Are you leading with openness or maybe conscientiousness?
This is a great question to ask yourself.
It is, and I want to leave you with one final thought. If our biological traits naturally shift as we age, adapting to our lives, is our true personality who we are at age 20, raw and unfiltered, or is it who we become at age 70, shaped by a lifetime of experiences?